If you told me 5 years ago that I would live to see the day where The Wolf Among Us Season 2 would actually release, I would have called you a liar. Season 2 was first announced in 2017, and then a year later we have received the biggest nut punch because the studio we all came to love sadly shut down. But then by some miracle, Telltale came back in 2021 with new hopes of releasing the Season 2, but bad luck struck for the second time, and the trail went cold. But ladies and gentlemen, here we are. Against every odd, against every setback, this game is finally coming out. So before we finally return to the long-awaited Fabletown, here is everything I expect from The Wolf Among Us Season 2. So let's start where the story ended, and where the most famous theory of Season 1 was born. After dealing with the Crooked Man, we think that's it. But the game has one final scene for us. One that would haunt this fandom for over a decade. We're standing outside when Nerissa approaches us. We share one last conversation where she reveals that she was the one who placed Fate's head in front of Bigby's apartment, and then she leaves. And as she's walking away, she says the words that would change the story forever.
You're not as bad as everyone says you are.
Those were Fate's exact words from the very beginning of the game, and in that moment we realized there's a lot of similarity between Faith and Nerissa. So the big question is, was Nerissa actually Fate this whole time? Now I'm not gonna go very deep into this theory because it is the most popular from Season 1 and I think everybody has heard of it. That said, I would love an official answer to this question, and as it turns out, we kind of got one way back in 2017. In an interview, Telltale said, and I quote, "It's absolutely not a cliffhanger. It's an ambiguous ending that's left open to interpretation," end quote. So the plan was to never really address it at all. But after the new trailer dropped a few days ago, we got some more news. In an interview with IGN, Telltale's CEO was asked directly whether the ending will be addressed in the sequel. Now to summarize, he didn't reveal whether we're getting a definitive answer or not, but he did hint at it. And personally, I do believe we're getting more info about what actually happened at the end of Season 1. Maybe not the full truth, but something that explains it further. And who knows, maybe this mystery is way deeper than we think. The second thing I want to see in Season 2 is what happened to Ichabod Crane, and I have some very good news about that. As we know, in episode 4, Crane gets taken by Bloody Mary, and we later learn that he's been shipped off to France, and we never hear from him again. And I know fans are dying to find out what happened to the perverted deputy mayor of Fabletown. If we take a look at the new trailer, we can see an evidence board, and on the far left, plane tickets to France, with Ichabod Crane's name on them, meaning Crane might have never even made it to France, and he might be connected to Season 2's story far more than we expected. Because think about it, as we know, Bigby is exiled in Season 2, forced to work from the shadows. But why is that? In the trailer, we can hear there were 6 homicides, husbands and wives, found shredded. Shredded means claws and claws mean wolf. Every Fable in town will look at those crime scenes and think of one name. I would love to see some revenge play from Crane because his story deserves a conclusive end, and judging by what we saw on the evidence board, I think we are getting just that. Another thing I really want to see in Season 2 is more detective gameplay, because Bigby is literally the sheriff, He is not just some guy walking from one cutscene to another. I want to actually feel like I'm investigating a case. I want more crime scenes where you can miss clues, interrogations where the way you talk to someone changes what they tell you, and evidence that actually affects later conversations. In the first game, the detective atmosphere was okay, but sometimes it still felt like the game was pushing you through the story no matter what. So, for Season 2, I want more moments where I actually have to think. And that leads into something that fans have wanted from Telltale games for years. Choices need to matter more. I don't expect every choice to create 5 completely different games, but I do expect my choices to be remembered. If my Big B is violent, people should fear him. If my Big B is patient, some people should trust him more. If I protect certain characters, they should maybe help me later. If I threaten everyone, maybe people stop talking to me. Season 2 doesn't need to change the entire plot with every decision, but it should change relationships, dialogue, trust, reputation, and maybe even how some scenes play out. My Big B should feel different from someone else's Big B. Moving forward, I really want to see the Crooked Man's network. Yes, even if the Crooked Man is dead or arrested, his influence should not just disappear. That was the whole point of Season 1. He wasn't scary only because he was one powerful man, he was scary because half of Fabletown depended on him. People owed him money, people worked for him, people were scared of him, and some people probably benefited from his system. So in Season 2, I really want to see the aftermath of all that. Who takes over after him? Do his debts still exist? And are people still trapped by the deals they made with him? The next thing on my list is the farm. At the very end of Season 1, Toad and TJ get shipped off there because they couldn't afford glamours anymore. Now, as we know, the farm is where Fabletown sends every Fable who can't look human. But what the game doesn't tell you is the worst part. Once you're there, you can never leave. They sell it as a sanctuary, but in reality, it's just a prison with grass. And I know I'm not the only one who really wants to see how the place actually looks like and what kind of fables actually live there. Now here's the catch. Big B can't even go there because the big bad wolf is actually banned from the farm because half the fables living there are absolutely terrified of him. So if Season 2 wants to show us the farm, we need a second playable character. Which is perfect, because Telltale has never done multiple playable characters in this series before. But with Big B being exiled and locked out of so many places, this is the perfect game to do it. A second pair of eyes could show us parts of the world that Big B simply can't reach. And finally, Fabletown should feel alive. Season 1 already had an amazing atmosphere, but I want Season 2 to make the world feel even bigger. I want more streets, more apartments, more bars, more offices, more hidden places. I want to see Fables living normal lives, gossiping, struggling, hiding secrets, owing money, dealing with glamours, and reacting to what happens around them. Fabletown should not just feel like a menu of locations, it should feel like an actual community where everyone knows something, and every choice Big B makes spreads through the town. So overall, what I want from Season 2 is not just more Big B and more Fables. I want the game to deal with the consequences of Season 1, I want better investigations, a deeper look at the Crooked Man's network, and choices that actually affect how people see Big B. And honestly, there's still so much more to talk about, and I know I probably missed a lot. So if you want a second episode where I talk about more theories, more characters, and more things I want from Season 2, tell me in the comments. Also, let me know what you want to see most in The Wolf Among Us Season 2 because I'm really curious to what other fans are hoping for. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching.